getting stuff done on a Sunday, I'm going to show you how to finish your window casing. Now, a very simple way to do this, I have a 7x4 window, true to size. So I got a chair rail running on the bottom. This is all going to be covered with the molding all the way up here. First thing you got to do is you got to cut your sill boards, your window sill boards. So like I said, 7 foot by 4 foot, true to size. So you're going to want to cut the bottom and the top both 7 feet long, and then the sides you're going to want to cut 4 feet minus 1.5 inches because the thickness of your 1-inch boards is actually 3/4 of an inch. Put that together, get 1.5 inches. So just make sure you cut those a bit shorter. I always like to dry fit it before I do apply any stain, paint, or varnish. Just dry fit it, make sure everything goes together. So this is what it should look like when it's all dry fitted. You want to have this sit on the bottom here, this on top, and you want this on top of this. It'll hold the weight of that. Not that it's holding a lot of weight, it's just the usual way you frame up windows, so it's the way I did it. It's a lot easier. That can sit on top of there while you're fiddling around. You don't want it the other way, because then when you hold up the top piece, you're not going to have anything to assist you holding it, so you're going to have to hold it and try and air nail it all by yourself. But this is what it should look like. I'm already ahead of the game here. I cut these all out to size for all 3 windows that I'm doing today. I've already stained them, and I am in the process of applying a polyurethane coat to the top of them. As you can see here, these are the pieces for my 4-foot window, my 3x4. They are not polyed, and these are drying, but you can tell how much glossier. And I didn't go full gloss, I went semi-gloss because I didn't want it to really shine, but I did want it to kind of give a little shine because I'm putting a pool table right here, which is glossy, so I didn't want everything to be satin in the back. So to cut the windowsill boards is pretty easy. Just go get some lumber from your local lumber yard, not your big box store, shop local. I picked these up the road. I just got a couple of 1x6s because I do have 2x6 construction in this bar area that I am completing, as you can see here. And all you have to do is rip them to size, which I have already done, because you want them pretty flush with your sheetrock. So you don't, when you put the molding on, you don't want it all tweaked one way or the other. You want it nice flush, so the molding will sit there flat and you won't have any cracks exposed. So just cut them to size, rip them, and stain them, dry fit them. Well, dry fit them before you stain them. Personally, I've always used Minwax stains and polys. I've never had an issue with them. I've done my whole house using Minwax products, and they haven't failed me yet. So I went with a honey, a full gloss on the stain, and for the poly, I went with the Minwax 1-coat polyurethane. It's supposed to do in just 1 coat, and me always being pressed for time and in a rush, I like to get things done quick. So go nice and heavy on the stain, and you go nice and heavy on the poly, and you'll be done in a day, ready to put together. Alright, so every piece has been polyed. Now it's going to take about 2 hours before they're ready to be handled, and they're going to go right up into the windows once they are dry. Gives me a little bit of time to finish this other thing I'm working on. So I'll come back in 2 hours and we'll put these up. So it's been about 2 hours. All the pieces are dry to touch. I'm going to start putting them up here. Grab your finish nailer, brad nailer, whatever you want to call it. Hook it up to some air and let's get to work. yeah, so I'm pretty satisfied with how they came out. Real easy to put together. I love the light and dark contrast I got going here. It's hard to see the color of that. My cat keeps jumping on it, but not pretty simple. So the next step you do, you gotta cut out your molding, and I'll show you how to measure, because there's a certain way you want it. Because you want it to run, you want the molding to run right in the center. You don't want it too far outside or too far inside. You want to get that nice lip all the way around your window. So I was just mentioning there's a certain way you want to measure this out. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to measure it from the outside of the left board to the inside of the right board. What that does, it centers the measurement, so you're running up the center of your 1x6. So I'm going to clip this to the outside wall. I'm going to measure all the way to the inside on the right. I got 35 3/8. That's where I'm going to make my cut, and it should line up perfectly in the center of these two outside boards. One thing to remember when cutting your molding, the fat side is always going to be on the outside, and the skinny part will be facing the window. So just remember to get your 45s right when you're cutting that. So you want to cut like that and like this. So after making my initial cut, I'm going to measure the 35 3/8 from the inside lip. It can be pretty tricky to hold it there by yourself, especially with these longer pieces. It's a lot easier to have somebody hold it there for you. But you measure always from the inside, and I made my mark right here. And then you just line it up with the saw and cut the opposite way. You don't want to make two cuts this way. That's not going to work. So you always want to fan them out like that. So I made my first cut here on the molding, and I'm just going to line it up, dry fit it, make sure it looks good. Looks good there. You want it in the center all the way around. That looks good. That looks good. Very nice. So just repeat the process for each side. Stain them, poly them, and tack them up. Well, there you have it, all framed up, molding's all up, good to go. Overall, pretty happy with how they turned out. This is my first time doing them, but it's a fairly easy process for anybody who doesn't know how to do it. Now you know. Thanks you guys for watching, appreciate that. Cheers.